Hey everybody, welcome back to day three of our Fit 40 Express Challenge. I am Alan Galang, head trainer over here, head instructor, and of course hanging out with the lovely Miss Young Helen Fong over here, 55 years old. That really looks like she's 30. And
Thank you.
as much as I sound like I exaggerate that sometimes, in all honesty, that's exactly what she lives by. That's how she is. And it wasn't always like that. It's not always been like that. It's only been like that since she was 49 years old. So that's only 6 years back.
Thanks to you.
Thanks to you, thanks to me, thanks to us as a team effort. And this team over here is now sharing details with you on how to make this kind of result happen for yourself in your own version, of course, however it is that you want your body to tone, to shape, to feel. Bottom line, everyone wants to look younger and more toned, right? You're going to learn how to do that on our part 3 version of today. So, Ms. Fong, let's take it away. Go ahead and share with everybody what is the topic that we're going to discuss today to help these ladies get the results faster.
Thank you so much. Yes, in the last couple of days, we give you the tools. We can tell you what's the best thing to eat, what's the best exercise to train. It was amazing, but they are also habits that we need to actually overcome, so we can actually get results faster, right? So when I say habits, for example, I used to love doing things with friends, and because there are results that I want, I have to make some changes. And those changes, it was hard at the beginning. So then I realized there's a way to overcome them easily and effortlessly. It doesn't take you to have intelligence to do that. So, and I'm excited to share that with you. Is in order to get the result that you want, you have to remember the things that you have to do. And for example, what I learned is, I know Coach Ellen will explain a little bit more detail. What I discovered is it was hard at the beginning to do the things that I want, to get the things I want. It was because my habits. Habit means the things that we do, our behavior, our action that we take, right? Because I want to look amazing, but I still have that all those habits that I do and all actions. People say you wanted to get different result, but if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same result. I'm sure so many of you hear that. And when it comes to fitness, it is the same thing. It is the same thing. And I know some of you are already changing some actions and some habit, but there's one thing that you can do to get the results even faster is changing who you are. Because why? Is because your mind is very powerful. When we tell ourselves who are we automatically just do the things to fulfill that person. Some of you are moms, and imagine the time. Some of you have kids. Before you have kids, you know that you're single, or even before you get married, you're single, and you do things what single people do. Just imagine if something like that happened to you. And then once you decide, I'm going to be a mom, you do mommy things. You do mommy things. So I believe you get the picture. But you give your identity. We have many identities. You don't have one identity. So we're women, so we dress up like women. If you're a doctor, then you act like a doctor. You study like a doctor. If you're a lawyer, you do things what lawyers do. So in this case, I shifted into an identity for the woman who you want to become in terms of fitness. So create an identity, a new identity for you will give you the results faster. Imagine you tell yourself, I'm going to be an athlete. I know there's a body that you want to see you in, a new version of you, but that's great. But how about giving yourself an identity? I know you're not there yet, but give yourself an identity. I am a strong person. I am an athlete. Because once you tell your mind that, your mind will automatically shift, which means move your body to do the things without thinking, right? If you tell yourself, I am an athlete, I am a healthy person, I am a strong person. So next time when you see your favorite dessert, you know that it's not going to make you look lean because it's probably going to add extra, calories in your body. Because you tell yourself, I want to become a strong, healthy, lean person. Your mind tells you, no, if you're lean and healthy, that dessert, your favorite dessert, is not going to cut it, is not going to give you that look. So having an identity is going to effortlessly help you overcome that habit of easily drawn to the thing that pull you into. So that's what I call creating a new identity for yourself. I hope this makes sense. Coach Ellen, can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, so really, folks, Helen's really good at learning to make shifts in herself. And what she's really explaining is that sometimes in order for us to make the shift, we have to see ourselves as a different person. Some people are open to that. Some people can sometimes reject that. But let me ask you, how many times have you gone out, for example, where when you're in a social environment and you're having maybe a few drinks, a lot of people that we know still have some alcohol, and that's cool. Notice how you act when you're around your friends. Notice how you act around your friends after a couple of drinks. Most people are really loose, relaxed, easygoing, having a great time, right? Now, take you as the same person, take out the alcohol, and notice how you act when you're at work. How do you act when you're at work? Is it the same as how you act when you're at the party? Or is it the same as when you act when you just hang out with your friends? For some people, yeah. For most people, no. How they act when they're at their job is slightly different or majorly different in comparison to how they act in a social environment. Now, let's take you again as an example. Forget the job, forget your, hanging out with friends. How do you act when you're around your parents, around your mom or your dad or your guardians or the people who raised you, whoever that is? Do you notice that how you act around them is probably, for many of us, very different from how we act at our job and how we act when we're in a social environment? So to sum up everything Helen and I are saying, it really just boils down to you asking yourself, number one, what is the personality trait that you demonstrate to yourself when you're in the process of transformation? Like, who do you see yourself as? Do you see yourself as the same person? Or do you see yourself as becoming an athlete, a bodybuilder, a CrossFitter, a runner, a swimmer? Like, these are just examples, right? Like, everybody has a label that they put on themselves. And we've noticed that the people who make change, who make progress, they claim that label much earlier before they get the results, which leads them to get the results, versus some people who just start off and they're like, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to do my fitness. So they stay as who they are without creating that new identity. And then they go into that new location. And that's usually why people will quit, because they're thinking to themselves, I'm not that kind of person. I can't do that. I've never done it before. This doesn't make sense. It's not for me. Well, yeah, of course, if we see ourselves as the same person walking into that environment, then of course it's not going to work long term. Of course, people will quit. And that's the nature of why people don't last, right? This is really important to know. And it sounds so simple. Like, you're going to notice a lot of things that we share is really simple. And you know what? I hate to break it to you, but when it really boils down to its nuts and bolts of how to make change, change is actually meant to be simple, not easy. There's a difference. You still got to work. You still got to put in your time. You still got to put in the effort. You still got to invest in yourself. Time, effort, money-wise. You got supplements, foods to buy, a gym membership or some weights or something, right? There's still some investment. But it's simplistic in the sense that you don't have to be a brain surgeon to know how to take care of yourself in a way that makes you younger, leaner, healthier, more toned, more attractive physically, more confident on the inside, which a lot of our people claim to us and tell us what they feel when they're making the shift. It's simplistic. It just takes regular, consistent action on a daily basis to get from where you are to where you want to be. And that really boils down to creating the identity. So as you're watching this right now, take a minute. If you're watching this live, you can just pull out a piece of paper again, as we've done before. Or if you're watching this as a recording, pause the video for a second, for 5 or 10 seconds. And just jot down. Ask yourself the question, who do I want to become? Give yourself that label. And it could be something generic like a bodybuilder, a fitness person, a CrossFitter, a runner, a swimmer. Or you can choose a person that you look up to. And you can say, I want to be like her or like them. A very common one that people use is they say, I want to be like Helen. I want to look like Helen. I want to have Helen's results. I want to have Helen's physique. I want Helen's arms or her legs or something. Like there's always something. I want something of Helen for myself. That's what they usually say. And that's beautiful because that creates the identity of who they are to who they want to become. They're still who they are on the inside, right? You don't change who you are in terms of your own character, your own personality, but the identity shifts your beliefs in terms of what you believe you can achieve. And if you see someone else who's achieving more than you have in that particular area, don't you think it's wise to also find out what they believe in and then adopt those beliefs for yourself? So it causes you to take more action towards getting the same goal that they were able to get for themselves. Right? Isn't that right, Ms. Fong?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
You explain it so nicely. Yes.
As we both do. Because
Yes.
that's our goal, right? We just want to make it plain and simple English so everybody gets where we're coming from.
Totally. When I started my first preparation for stage competition, in my head, I want to be that person on stage. So every time I feel like giving up, I imagine that is the body you wanted to build. That's why it got me the results. Yes, I am still a woman, I'm still a mom, but having that identity, I call it role. Choose another position for yourself.
A role.
A role.
Got it. Got it.
That makes a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that comes from a psychological shift. What we're talking about today is the psychology of change. And remember, if you're trying to make a change in yourself, there's really only 3 ways. There's 3 ways to do it. Doesn't matter who you talk to. They might have a different way of explaining it, but it always boils down to these 3 basic things. If you want to make change in yourself rapidly, all you have to do is, number 1, change either your psychology, so the way you think, your physiology, the way you move, like just going to the gym or working out with a partner, even if you don't want to, you do it anyway, eventually becomes a habit, right? So your physiology will change you, or your biochemistry. So in other words, what do you eat? What do you drink? What do you ingest that will either give you the drive, the energy, the motivation, the desire to go after that next level? Or more commonly, unfortunately, but it happens, where people eat stuff for pleasure, but it doesn't give them drive. It makes them tired, makes them lethargic, makes them look at themselves in the mirror with, dislike, disgust, whatever it is you want to say, but it doesn't get them closer to the goal. The last thing we want to share with you today is how to change your biochemistry. So one simple thing that we do that helps us control the food intake, that helps us control our hunger pains, that helps us control our need to snack on the most horrible things, which we're human, we're going to do it, right? We're going to do it. Everybody loves one of these. They either love some chocolates or some chips or some ice cream or some candy.
Especially when you're hungry, right?
Especially when you're hungry and you don't have anything else in front of you. Sometimes if all you see is that donut there, but you're like, oh, I can't eat the donut, but you're hungry and there's nothing in the fridge. You're like, ah, the donut. A lot of times you'll go and reach for the donut. You know what we mean, right? So instead of getting stuck in that disposition, here's what we're going to suggest. Whenever we get hungry, which is common, we get hungry a lot. Instead of us just grabbing food or whatever's in front of us, which happens sometimes, the majority of time, what we will do instead is the following. Knowing that our bodies are hungry, knowing that we'll make the wrong choices. If we act on hunger alone, before we go and eat, before we go out to dinner, before we go and just grab any regular food, we'll do this. Number one, we'll grab our protein powder. And in this case, I just happen to have a bottle of IsoGold. No, I'm not promoting IsoGold. No, it's not even IsoGold inside. I'm just using the container. This is actually a vegan or a vegetable-based protein that I have in here. Again, it's just the label, right? I should just start it this way. There you go,
Yes.
right?
Or we should get paid for it.
Yeah, 1 scoop or a half scoop of protein powder, okay? A half scoop if you're about to have dinner or have a meal, because you don't want to get full. You don't want to get full on the protein powder, right? Half scoop with 1 scoop of glutamine. And again, we're not loyal to just a particular company. Like, companies are great, the brands are great. We just happen to have this on hand. So I'm showing you, you can get any version, any brand of glutamine that you want. But we put these two together in a small glass, put it in a blender so it's nice and smooth, and drink that whenever you get hungry or before you go out and eat your cheat meal or your meal that you know is going to be wonderfully tasting, but not necessarily great for your physique. Now, why is that? Why is that important? It's important because, number one, when you drink your protein powder, number one, drinking your protein powder is essential. Your body, your muscle needs protein. Muscle needs protein in order to grow, to get lean, to get strong. You can eat everything else that you want, but if you don't have sufficient protein amounts in your body, well, then you're not going to grow that much. Your muscles will not get that strong, not as strong as you want it to, if you're deficient on protein, right? Number two, we've noticed that most people in their 40s and 50s, not everyone, but as a generalization, has some level of challenge with digestion or some level of gut health challenge. Not to the point where they have to be hospitalized, but to the point where sometimes if they want to eat something, you tell me, has this ever happened to you? You had a meal, you went to the restaurant, you had your favorite dish at home, whatever the case is. And before you know it, 20, 30 minutes later, shirt starts popping out, stomach starts getting bigger.
Unbutton your pants.
You're looking down, you're like, why is my stomach so hard? I barely ate anything. Why am I bloating? Like, it's uncomfortable. And then you sit down and it just sticks out. That's a sign if ever you've gone through it. And if you're lucky enough to not go through that, maybe you're a person who gets gassy really easy. You know, it's a little uncomfortable to talk about it, but this conversation is real. We're talking about getting real results here, right? Some people get gassy and they don't understand why. They just feel discomfort in their stomach. 9 times out of 10, that can be resolved with just using a scoop of glutamine. Glutamine is an amino acid that we're supposed to get from food, but the glutamine levels are so low in food, generally speaking, or people's diets are not balanced enough that they don't get enough glutamine. So just being able to supplement it really settles the gut. It really helps with absorption, digestion, and it makes the food go down more comfortably. It also makes the protein powder go down more comfortably, which is perfect. Because in conclusion, you put those two together, you watch what happens after you drink it. Are you still hungry? Are you still craving all those sweets and donuts and everything else? Maybe, but the craving goes down from here to here, like really low, which then means number two, you can make better choices for yourself. Now you can go eat that food. You can have that junk meal. You can have those other things if you're not getting ready for a competition the way Helen does. You can still afford to eat some of those junk foods, but you're going to notice that your junk food intake is going to go from here to here. And you'll be as satisfied, most likely, because we experience this, you'll be as satisfied eating this much junk food as you would have at this much. But your body now has to only burn this much, which means that you can still keep some tonality, you can still keep some shape, you can still build that physique. Even on eating a little bit of junk food that makes you feel so satisfied. But it really wasn't the junk food that made you satisfied. It was having the protein powder beforehand, along with the glutamine.
No, that really makes sense, Coach Allen, is because I noticed that when I go shopping,
Mhm,
before dinner
mhm,
or after dinner,
mhm,
before dinner, my mind sees everything and want to eat everything.
mhm. Oh, grocery shopping.
Yeah, so I noticed that if you have a little bit of stuff, food in your tummy before you go out,
Yeah.
you're less likely to be tempted.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Now, again, we are not doctors, we're not medical professionals, not medical advice. I know I said it in the last video, but I gotta say it again, just to be clear. This is only us sharing as friends. We are practitioners and athletes. If you are unsure of anything we shared, please go speak to your medical professional before taking this friendly advice from your two new friends here at Fit40 Express, okay? But in conclusion, that is the way that we make the change. That is the way that we control our appetites so we can build more muscles and less body fats. It's just being able to portion size and control the good and the bad foods. So we get more of the good stuff, less of the bad, and we can still enjoy our life and our meals at the same time.
Yes, it's very, like, again, this whole session is pretty simple. Two things: psychology and biochemical.
Biochemistry, yeah.
And biochemistry. That's all you need,
Same
right?
stuff.
Who you are and
What you eat.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that's all right.
Absolutely. So folks, we've dumped a lot on you over these past 3 days. We know you might have questions or you might have anything that's on your mind. If you do have questions, feel free to email Helen and myself at fit40express@gmail.com. Fit40, that's a 40 express@gmail.com, or you can just come out and check out Helen's main site, which is toned@50.com. You can also find us under Tone at 50 on Instagram, YouTube, and on Helen's Facebook fan page as well. Not hard to find us, so if you got questions, feel free to reach out anytime, okay?
Yes, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you. We appreciate your time, your effort, and just for you being here, whether recorded or live. We respect you, we appreciate you, and we want to see you succeed. Anything else that you've got in terms of success, goals, challenges, things you overcome, share it with us, because we're not just here to have a one-way conversation. We want to talk to you. We want to know that you're getting progress from the things that we share. And we get excited when we know that you are on your way from going where you are, from starting where you are, to getting to where you want to be. Maybe a little part of that because we were able to help. But it's all on you, and we want to be there at the finish line with you when you make that transformation happen. So thank you so much, folks, for being here. Have yourself a great afternoon, great day, great evening, whenever you're watching this. And we will see you in upcoming events in our next upcoming challenge.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for checking in. Talk to you soon.